All right, everybody, and welcome to a special St. Patrick's Day edition of Show Choir Nation. I'm William. I'm not wearing green today. Alongside me is my co-host Ethan, who is marginally more festive than me today. Ethan, how has the Feast of St. Patrick been for you?
It's been great. I haven't really been celebrating today, as I probably should be. I know. But you get busy. It's still a work day for some of these people. Gosh, not all of us are on spring break. Okay, those days.
I'm not either, so don't look at me.
Those days are past me.
Did you get to Doherty's today?
No, I didn't. My siblings did, however, but I was jealous. I was definitely jealous.
Oh, very nice.
I'll hit them up this week. Get some corned beef and cabbage. Get some corned beef and cabbage. They have
and it's a monster serving of corned beef and cabbage.
That's what Logan said. He just stared at it for about like 15 minutes.
And when Logan says that, it's legit.
He's like, he just stared at it. It's a beef. But yeah, they got some good fish and chips over there. If you're ever in downtown Decatur, Doherty's is a heck of a spot. So
amazing.
So is Murphy's and Champaign, though. So is Murphy's and Champaign, another great Irish establishment.
Yes. So we both have our little hometown Irish establishments that we like, and we already have the comments. We got our shamrocks going. It's been a long day of watching Show Choir podcast for you, Mr. Matas. So congratulations for watching all of the Show Choir content that you can get on this Tuesday. Our friends over at the warm-up room dipped their toe into live podcasting this morning. That's on their YouTube channel and probably their Spotify account at this point as well. Need to get Johnston 2023 to get in the spirit. I did actually watch that show, and I did not even make that connection. I saw it at the UNL Midwest Cup, and is that 24? No, that was 23. That was 23. Yeah, I saw it at the UNL Midwest Cup, and I just got crossed on my ears. And I've seen that one. I've seen Ron Colley's Irish show from last year, and a couple other ones, I think, that are escaping my memory right now.
Yeah, Ron Colley definitely did one 2 years ago or last.
It was last year.
Yeah. It was really good too.
All right. Well, Ethan, we celebrated another unofficial holiday last Saturday, and that was the Wheaton Warrenville South Choral Classic. You and I both in attendance for this one. How was your day at Wheaton Warrenville South?
It was great. And actually, I think I put up a record today. I put up a record for myself. It might have been my least amount of time spent at a choral classic ever. I was real touch and go this weekend, in and out. Sorry, you've got mail. I wasn't showing up at 8 a.m. this go around.
I was.
I know you were. And I was sad, but and then if I wasn't gonna make it up for YGM, I was gonna make it up to La Femme, and at that point it was like, well, shoot, might as well sleep in, right? So took the advantage of where it was, and then when my alma mater, when they went in finals, it helped out going home early too, making sure we got back in town before it got too dark and a little scary across the Midwest this past weekend. So in terms of weather. So, get back down here, and we got the results as soon as we hit town. So it was kind of perfect. And yeah, this is a competition I've just been going to for years. And it's a blessing that we have a choir up in Chicago that has a venue and is willing to put on masterclass competitions like this one. I couldn't tell you one time that I've gone there that I've been disappointed. I don't think I've ever been disappointed in the quality of groups that have gone there. Whether it just be smaller groups who are really creative and put on fun shows, or groups you would never see anywhere else. I know for a fact that was the first time I seen a Texas group was at the Wheaton Warrenville South Classic. I forgot what year VOC went.
Keller Central went in 23, I think.
23? Yeah. But yeah, that was like the first time I seen a Texas group, and they were outstanding. So fantastic. One thing, being from a performer who's performed in it and being a spectator, one thing I just have to say is, to those that don't know, this is a competition held in a gym. And if you look at this on paper, you there's no way that this is held in a gym. You're like, whoa, this must be a really big gym. It's a pretty normal gym.
Yeah. If
It's
anything, on the smaller end of things.
yeah, and so it's really impressive to see the volunteers and the stage help that they have, and everyone who just completely buys in and make it the Wheaton Warrenville South Choral Classic experience, because it's fantastic every single time. So if you are a director or someone who wants a choir to come up, make a Chicago trip at the end of the year, I if you need some random guy to tell you to go there, this is your call, right? This is it. If you haven't got the memo already. But yeah, like for example, I had no idea how JB was going to get in there and with their backdrop and everything. And you know what? They made it happen. Stuff like that. Them going right after Swing Stations, who has also their own riser setup. And yet, I know in prelims it took a little bit longer than probably people would have expected. However, it was pretty smooth transition overall, especially going from two choirs that have their own setups and risers. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the stagehands for keeping it on time the best they could. And I feel like this is also such a fun competition because of all the people I get to meet. You know, it's just one of those meetup spots where you finally get to meet people you see from online, or you just have conversations with in the DMs and stuff like that, and just connect about show choir. So I truly had a blast.
Wonderful. I would absolutely like to second everything that you said. If you need not just one, but two random guys to tell you to take a Chicago trip at the end of your season, I am your second random guy who will tell you the venue at Wheaton Warrenville South is exceptional. The people at Wheaton Warrenville South, top shelf as well. I'll hit on a couple of notes from the single gender division since Ethan decided to prioritize his sleep, which I did not decide to prioritize. A couple of shows that stuck out to me. Number one, the FCOM Sensations. This was a fourth place show. And this is a show that certainly, I think, acted like a show that was higher up in the rankings than it was. And I mean that in the best of way. It just elegant costuming, great characters, so much going on, light towers. And you look and like, this is a show that's placed third in small women's at Indiana competitions. And you're like, yep, it's just a little bit of a different beast over there coming from two of us that aren't from Indiana originally. You know, it's never happens that you see two different women's divisions in Illinois or Wisconsin, where I come from originally. And to see a show like that and to see it get a shot, it's got a couple shots in overall women's divisions, and it won the division, I think, at Batesville and North Central, or Batesville and Lafayette Jefferson. But to see it match up against a lot of shows, I thought it was super cool. And I don't know where I would have expected them to be. I think they were a total wild card, but I think coming in the exact middle of this division in fourth place for a group that competes small division in Indiana is certainly a success. And then also John Burroughs Sound Sensations. I mean, they were the last group to perform in the single gender division. And as soon as the opening chord hit, I was like, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Like, this is not your, oh, we're going to rehearse with the girls group once or twice a week. And whatever gets put out on stage gets put out on stage. This is hey, we have about 300 incredibly talented kids at our school, and kids 1 through 65 are in Powerhouse, and kids 66 through 130 are in Sound Sensations, but they are still better than talent at so many other high schools. And I will admit, I may or may not have zoned out at a couple moments, which impacted my understanding of the story throughout, because by the end of it, I was like, wait, how did that get to there, and what plot line did that through line go through? But I'm going to chalk that up to user error on my part. The vocals, great. The visuals, great. That soloist, I would have put her right up against the best soloists in the varsity division all day. So John Burroughs Sound Sensations, phenomenal as well. A very, very well-deserved win. Ethan, do you want me to just briefly touch on some of the mixed groups that didn't make finals?
Yeah, just real quick. I'm gonna give a quick shout out from the single clef division as someone who wasn't there, but just looking on paper. I have to give my Illinois groups a shout out. Naperville North, Vivant. I did not know if they were able to get top 3 at this competition in the single clef division. They showed out. Truly, this is a show that I got to see at their host performance. It was a great show. Coming into this, you know, you just don't know what's truly going to happen. They came up and played. They did a great job with a solid podium finish. And of course, Mount Zion La Femmes, you know, this is a choir that, you know, hasn't had all the success in the world in the single clef division. constantly having battles with their own, I guess, brother choir, Mount Zion You've Got Mail. And You've Got Mail ended up getting 6th in this competition. So it, and that's how tight their battles have been. So it kind of shows you how talented all the groups here were. And that includes El Paso High Fidelity. That's a choir that's been up and down in the Illinois rankings, but in the single clef division. So they kind of found their way in the middle of the pack right here. And then rounding out Waubonsie Valley Residence is still a very, very solid single clef choir.
Absolutely. I think there's just something about La Femme and Wheaton. You think back to 2 years ago where they made their way into that incredibly stacked single gender finals as well. So yeah, a shout out to La Femme there. Some of the groups that did not make finals, Hersher Class Act. I've only seen Hersher the past 2 years. I think that those 2 seasons have been on the smaller side, but by golly, Hersher is the best 15-person show choir that I've ever seen in my life, bar none. Like the vocal blend and dynamics that they're able to create with 15 people, and the fact that they care enough to bring in, last year was Sam Mulligan, this year it's Shane Coe, like really regionally respected choreographers to do their show, and it looks good, and the show design is coherent, and it sounds good. And those are some things that maybe you don't get sometimes with smaller groups. And I know that there might be a change on the horizon brewing for Hersher. So no matter what comes in the future, it's been a really good couple of years to see Hersher Class Act. I do want to touch on FCOM again, Heritage Singers. Do I necessarily think that this would have been a finals caliber show just purely based off scores? No, but based on aura, I mean, absolutely a finals caliber show. Their Ice Queen, shout out our own Madison Fleener, absolutely electric. I wish that she appeared in more than like 2 songs. I was like, I want to hear more of her solos and stuff. But again, another one of those Indiana shows where you're like, again, this is like middle of the pack in small mixed. Yeah. But then they come over here and they are not too far out of the conversation for overall finals. And so I think that's a testament to the depth of schedule that they're running. And also an invitation to other Indiana small mixed groups. Like if you want to potentially cut a break in like an open varsity division, ship on over to not just Wheaton, but ship on over to Mount Zion, ship on over to El Paso, ship on over to Mantino if they're going to have finals next year, and see how you can do against some kind of varsity level choirs. Nina, I was unaware of this before the event, but Nina, I guess, has a pretty long-standing history of going to Choral Classic, even back to its early days in the late 2000s and early teens. Glad to see Nina back. I think that it was definitely going to be an uphill battle for them. They just did not have the firepower humans-wise with only 34 people that a lot of the groups they were contending with did. I think that they absolutely did the best with what they could get. It felt like we had quite the run of Jeff Jordan groups in the afternoon because we had Sullivan, we had John Hersey, we had Nina, and I think Jeff has a credit on Naperville as well. So it was the Jeff Jordan party for a little bit. And then Naperville, I mean, they wind up with 1 finals appearance on the year, and that's a 6th place. I think that this is a show that is probably better than their results state. What happened at Crete stays at Crete, I think, is just the best way to say it. Narrow finals miss at Mount Zion, finals at Hersey, and a wild finals that saw a lot of shuffling, and then barely out of finals at Wheaton as well. So just one of those seasons where you kind of have to stick your chin out and say, we ran a tough slate of comps and we made our finals once, but we were right there everywhere else. So those are some of my thoughts on the choirs that didn't make finals. Ethan, of the finals choirs, who did you see and who do you kind of want to talk about?
Can I give some quick thoughts on the choirs that didn't make finals?
Sure.
Sullivan Seniors, this was a choir that, I got to see at Glenwood, and holy cow, like insane choir. Like I'm thinking, yes, they used to be a tier 1 varsity mixed choir, and I was blessed to see them at that stage. However, during COVID, they had some kind of falling out. Seeing them back to where they are now is just, it warms my heart so much. And those kids on stage can move. They do a fantastic job. It's a great show, and they have so much fun on stage. Them being a late ad here, they were kind of just like, let us just join the party. I'm glad Wheaton let them join the party. And they finished in 11th place, but still a great showing. John Hershey, got to see that show at Naperville, I believe. They have so much fun on stage. It's a choir that you don't really think about all the time, or it's like a show you really don't see unless you catch it. I'm glad I caught it. They always have so much fun on stage. And Nina, like you said, this is a choir I've never seen in in it live before, I was so surprised by how much sound they got up the stage with the amount of kids that they had, and they truly were smiling ear to ear the whole time. It was truly a great performance. And then Naperville North, I mean, you could tell that it was their final show, and they came out with so much heart and so much soul, and they really, really, really made a lot of people impressed. And I know second song ballad is kind of weird in the show choir world a little bit. However, super strong ballad. You can tell that some of the kids were bracing themselves when it came to some moments, so they didn't break down on stage. And for the most part, they held it together pretty well. And I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like this is a show that I don't think overhated is the right term. However, in terms of placements, I it's a good show. I feel like this is a finals worthy show. And at this competition, way tougher at this competition to make finals. However, like you said, I feel like it's a show that maybe deserved maybe 2 more final placements throughout the year. Very, very, very happy that I got to see their show this year. And they honestly impressed me, especially after the season that they've had. They truly left it all on the stage. And for finals groups, the ones that I was able to catch, I've seen El Paso Gridley before. I missed them both times. However, they just have, their choreography with Heath Guimar, I keep saying it's like a distant memory now. It's like fighting against the prime Glenwood, right? It's like the shades are all there, like all little hints here and there, and the same moves every now and then. And you've seen what Heath has done to this program. Truly turned them around visually. And then, of course, you put on a mastermind like John Schaefer on top of it, and then the help of our own Owen Miller, truly helping turn this program around. Not even around. They've been growing steadily for some time now. But it's the same with Davenport Central right now. Like, that's a choir that's gone undefeated, but you put Heath Guimar, choreographer, on it, and it really, really shines on stage. Waubonsie Valley. This is a show that you quote unquote has legs, or what did you say? What did you say?
It caught hands.
It caught it caught hands, and you said that, and I was like, yeah, because the last time I truly watched their show was when they went to Wisconsin. It wasn't Toma. Where did they go? It was Milton.
There we go.
And I was like, okay, a Grammy show, I believe, and them doing something that stuck out to me was they just have so much fun on stage performing all those high caliber songs. They just have a blast. Them doing not like us for 0.5 seconds and the crowd getting hype is always such a fun little moment. They like they said, caught hands, and I'm glad to see their steady growth throughout this season, and hopefully always as lead into next season as well. Them beating a very talented El Paso Gridley group it is huge for them going in the right direction. I caught Sweens, of course. Great show. Prelims was a little bit lax, or maybe not even lax, but maybe tense in the terms of, vocally it wasn't really there. However, in finals, they truly did bring it. And I thought they really showed that Swing Station energy is almost second to none, or it's no one else has Swing Station energy. Vocals might not be tip top shape. However, they're bringing it 24/7 and you won't get tired. I know a saying that they have revelished in is don't let the judges turn the channel. Don't let them grab the flipper or the remote. My Midwest coming out there. But my slang. Just truly just entertain. And they truly did entertain. And I thought they truly stepped it up in finals. I didn't get to see Omaha South, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I know that this is a fantastic choir, a group that has been steadily growing throughout the years, especially in a packed Omaha scene, Nebraska scene, where every choir is just outstanding. So I can't wait to hear what you have on that. I've seen Wheaton North. There's nothing to really even say about Wheaton North. They are fantastic in every sense of it. They've gone up against the competition this year. They do not back down their vocals. I know that they had a first in vocals from somebody. They had to. They're just one of those choirs that is always threatening a caption. And then, of course, JB. JB's, I mean, fantastic. And I'm super sad I don't get to go to HOA Orlando, or I didn't go to Chesterton this year, because then I could just be like, well, in 4 weeks time, I got to see Clinton, I got to see JB, I got to see Center Grove, I got Johnson and Los Alamitos. JB truly put on an amazing show. I don't know if I have a soft spot for disco. I think I kind of do. And the reason being is because like a junior high show did it a while back, and I got to see that ice show a lot. Or not ice show, my bad. Disco show a lot, and it was phenomenal. And I felt like this was just another layer on top of it. And all the small little nook and cranny things that they do on stage is unbelievable. Shout out to the the rollerblader or roller skates. Unbelievable. If anyone knows, and of course the guys who did it with her, that choreography is unbelievably hard. It's so hard to pick up roller skates, but like the way that they do when they're bouncing on their hands only, right? And they're bouncing up and down, and there's so many just things here and there, and it's funny because I sat back and I'm like, yes, this is a choir that is going to win today. Like that was just kind of how it was. And I sat back and I watched their prelim show, and I was in awe. I was in awe, and it wasn't even a clean show. It was not a clean show. And I know that they've had better runs than their prelims, and that goes from stuff the performers could control and the stuff they couldn't control. Like, there was that flashing riser for a little bit with the lights, and I know that probably wasn't going to go, and the backdrop had some light issues every now and then, and that's stuff that they can't control. I know there's slippage and fallage sometimes, and I mean, yeah, if you're going to be dancing on roller skates, roller blades, that's going to happen, right? So no one's blaming anyone on that. However, I feel like the way that they were composed, even when they made mistakes, they were truly professional, and they were visually just outstanding. Costumes were amazing. It was a blessing to be in that gym with all those people in that moment watching JB. So, congratulations, Powerhouse. Unbelievable show. Will, your thoughts on these finalists?
Yeah. I'll just rip quickly because you said a lot of stuff. El Paso, my first time seeing their show this year, they just kind of did what El Paso does. Kind of a good songs done well theme. They're going to dance in a way that nobody else at that competition dances, and they're going to put themselves in contention when it matters. Bonzi, really happy for them to make finals here. I watched finals last year sitting directly above their director, Melissa O'Neill. Obviously, that did not happen this year because they were performing in finals, and so I really love to see that. I mean, that is a program that has gone through the depths, and this is their first time making finals here since 2023. So a big step forward for those kids and everyone involved in that program. Swings, third and fourth time seeing that show this year. Definitely return to form to them, putting away all the bad memories of whatever happened last year at this competition. Omaha South in third, just raving about the show again and again. I was literally listening to Danza Kuduro over dinner tonight because that just how it be the way you listen to catchy show choir songs. And I mean, look, Danza Kuduro is not even a show choir song. Like anyone who has ever been at any kind of yard party has probably heard that song. Yeah. But just to see it on a show choir stage, like I believe they're the first one in the showchoir.com database that has it. Just intentional show design, intentional visual choices, great, well improved vocals from when I saw them as a host exhibition. You look at them and you're like, how are they ranked number 13 in our Nebraska regional rankings? And like, I know why, because I've seen a bunch of these other Nebraska shows this year. And it's like, well, like when you have to factor in for West Side and two of the Millards and a couple of the Lincolns and, Papio South and this and that and two Gretnas and like, yeah, okay, spots start filling up really quick, but golly, like that would kick the pants off of pretty much a lot of other 13th place shows in their respective circuits. Maybe not in Iowa, maybe not in Indiana, but pretty much everywhere else in the country. Like you match that up against the number 13 show in Illinois, which is probably John Hersey. Like obviously that beats that. So a great showing from Omaha South. Wheaton North, definitely a show that grew since I saw it at Chesterton. they just continue to show up where it matters most. They were in the finals conversation at Chesterton. They have been in the conversation everywhere else. Obviously took a commanding sweep at Hersey, and more or less they were best in class because, like you said, Ethan, like Powerhouse was just going to win, and that was just how it was going to be. But then Flight was the best of everybody else, and that's a very big accomplishment. And then Powerhouse, I mean, vocally, visually, yeah, pack it up, lock it in, we're done. I saw LaSalle at Wheaton, saw John Burroughs at Wheaton. Phenomenal performances both times. I think just the way that people in the California Big Three choirs move rips the fabric of space and time a little bit differently than it does for us mere mortals. There's something about the way they move. And I don't quite know what exactly it is, but I feel something. Yeah, like I don't feel this way when watching any other show choir. Like maybe Linmar is the only other one.
Maybe it's because they have maybe because they're tan. I don't know. They catch more sun.
I don't know. Like you see the top Southern groups dance, and you're like, man, they can really dig it. But like, there's something about the California groups that is just different. And that was great and phenomenal. We have spent a lot of time talking about week.
Yes.
So we will quickly run through our other comps of the week. Brownsburg, the Bulldog Spectacular, the results of this one. Franklin Central taking home the win with best vocals. Carmel second with best choreography. Zionsville third with best band. And Avon in fourth. Ethan, Franklin Central takes a big win over Carmel to even out the season series at 1-1.
Yeah. Quick trivia for you. You ready?
Go.
Last time FC has beaten Carmel.
Brownsburg, it's 2021.
Congratulations, William. Congratulations. You win today. It'll be a question.
I knew that Carmel had won the last 4 at Brownsburg.
Yeah.
So I was like,
so good job.
5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, that would be 2021. So
yeah. So I mean, huge. And I feel like if you need another example of why Indianapolis Show Choir is so good, each of the top 3 won a major caption. Best vocals going to Franklin Central, best visuals going to Carmel, Zionsville getting best band, and even Avon got best crew. I mean, it's just one heck of a finals that, you forget that even Mitchell wasn't in attendance. It's like it's a shame they didn't get to make the finals round. It is truly, you travel all the way to South Dakota. You're one of these choirs who is just fantastic on all levels. Last time out, they got was it like 3rd in best choreography? They are one of the strongest choirs in this country. However, when a finals field only asks for 4 choirs, so somebody's got to be left out. And sadly, it had to be Mitchell. Avon is just on top of their game this year. Truly, and I mean, honestly, for the past couple of years, they've just been pumping out amazing shows in and out, in and out. So even if you are Mitchell, you're like, well, we didn't lose to a choir that we shouldn't have lost to. I mean, every choir who made finals deserved to make finals, and I believe Mitchell probably put on a show during prelims that deserved to make finals too. But sadly, some choirs just couldn't make finals, and an amazing competition. If Wheaton wasn't going on, I would have made a case to head over to Brownsburg myself. They truly amazing show choir going on in Indianapolis.
Yeah. I do just want to say that Franklin Central took another big win in the women's division. They wound up coming out over Zionsville in second and Carmel in third. That one also an interesting caption split. Carmel third with best choreo. Echoing your thoughts on Mitchell, it was just one of those deals where you have more finals worthy groups than you have final spots. So, I mean, it just is what it is. We'll move to Marysville. The results of this one, surprise, surprise, another California choir taking a big win. Burbank, grand champion, best vocals, best choreography. Fishers, second. Lafayette Jefferson, third. Olentangy, fourth with best band. Ross, fifth.
How about Ross?
I tell you what, I saw Ross at Edgewood in January, and I'm like, this is a good show for small mix. Like, this is there. And I was not surprised at all to see them make finals here.
Yeah, I mean, of course, when I think of Ross, back in my day, you think of that choir who was in Tier 1, and they were making a lot of noise every now and then. I feel like they even had a year, I don't know if it was during COVID or right after COVID, where they rattled off a handful of wins in a major season for them. This was a choir who I thought would make finals here. They have done a fantastic job with their program. I love that they do runner-up best vocalist. I think that's awesome that they put that on showchoir.com. Shout out to whoever who put that on there, or in Marysville for giving it out. But yeah, this is just an amazing competition. I mean, Lafayette Jefferson. This is a choir that here's a choir that is just an amazing.
Okay, Chris Collinsworth.
Here's a choir that's just an amazing vocally choir. Just amazing, and they only have 35 some kids on state. I don't know the number.
Less, yeah,
I don't know the number this year, but they just truly do an amazing job on stage, and they put on masterful performances under Mark Myers. And then Fishers. I mean, Fishers is a very strong program and very, very strong in Indianapolis. However, I didn't necessarily think that they had the juice to get to second place. Now, I knew their vocals were going to be strong and they were going to go up against, everyone there. However, having best show concept against a group, one of the big three from California, Cinema. You almost couldn't ask for more besides the win. Cinema. Just fantastic for Fishers. Amazing performance for them. Great placement. And then, of course, Olentangy snagging a best band caption from these choirs is no joke. So kudos to them as well. And, of course, Burbank. California getting it done in the Midwest this week.
They are doing what they are doing. We will move on to Fame Orlando. This is our last comp of the week. And the results of this one, a little interesting. I think a lot of us didn't really have a definitive handle on how it would play out. However, how it did play out was Davenport Central, best vocals, best choreo, best band, and the win. Sparta, second. Briarwood, third. Blue Valley, fourth. Tift County, fifth. And ALA, sixth. We return to Heath Guimar with Davenport Central.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. And I mean, this is just a choir who, if I feel like if they just kept going and going and going, they would keep racking up best choreography captions and top 2 placements, in wins. They are just such a steady hand choir in the Midwest. Now, of course, I'm selfish. I'm gonna be selfish for a little bit. I would love them to come to a competition like Wheaton. I feel like, seeing them at a competition like that, where it's just, what I say, mamble jamble, it's just a cluster of amazing choirs. And then you throw them in there, they could throw a wrench in the whole thing, but you never really know. However, they go down to Fame Orlando for their trip this year. They get the job done, winning basically almost every single caption. So shout out to them. And pretty much just ending the year the right way. So congratulations to them on an amazing year. Sparta, I was happy I got to see their show this year at El Paso. I thought it was their last show, just from how they carried themselves and the performance, because they just put so much passion and so much heart and soul into their shows. A huge second place for them, especially in a competition where you really didn't know what was going to happen. I remember when I had to make this prediction on my phone, and I didn't know the groups, and I was scrambling. I didn't know where to place all these groups. I feel like I even had ALA, American Leadership Academy, in third place. That's how this competition can flip on you. Briarwood, I know they're near and dear to Will's heart. Near and dear. This is a great placement for them. This is a fantastic placement for them. Of course, you want to be 1 or 2, right? However, podium, and you're beating groups like Blue Valley and Tift County and ALA, who has their years every now and then. Huge placement for them. Blue Valley, this is a choir that I actually didn't get to catch this year. I feel like I caught them twice last year or so, or maybe once at Troy. However, it was a show that I did not forget. They just put on amazing shows. They put their heart and soul into each one. They ended up the season with no wins. However, 2 very good second place finishes. And of course, 5th place, and then this 4th place. So just an amazing competition. And I like that Fame is still around and that choirs are still able to attend. So, and I like that tradition still goes on.
Good. Well, a couple notes for me. Number one, Sparta, they did take home 2 caption awards. So Davenport Central didn't take all of them. Sparta got a couple.
We're close.
And also, they started and finished their season by placing second to Big Iowa programs. They were second to Waukee Northwest at Holman on January 10th. They were second to Davenport Central at Fame Orlando on March 14th. So what goes around comes around. And then also Briarwood, best show design, easiest caption of the day to figure out in my eyes. Easier than best vocals, easier than best choreo. As soon as you see Briarwood on the sheet, like show design, book it, Briarwood. I love that show so much. And if anyone has a video, please post it to YouTube because the public needs to see that. A couple of my thoughts on Fame Orlando. We will hit a couple of competitions that we did not cover. This is our We're So Back segment. It is late in the season, which means that there's even more time for choirs to be so very back. Ethan, who is your pick for being so back?
My pick for being so back, it's California. California is so back. Yes, I know we just got done talking about them. However, 2 huge wins in the Midwest this season. And then, of course, Los Alamitos is going to be traveling down to HOA Orlando in a massive competition where they have to fend off some really amazing groups. So if they can go 3 for 3 out of California this year, huge for them. However, taking a little quick turn because we're going to talk about something we haven't talked about yet. I hope I'm not stealing your choir, or you're so back. I don't think I am. You usually pick some really niche ones. I'm gonna take Bloomington Kennedy. We are so back, Bloomington Kennedy, even though it's the end. And by we're so back in Minnesota, hopefully.
They are.
Okay, good. We're back in Minnesota. To those that don't know, they had some travel issues. They had a huge win, though. Huge win. And stepping out into California is never easy. The land not traveled. But however, musicianship, showmanship, best soloist. Shout out Indigo. Doing it once again, amazing against Chaparral in their division. So I'm glad that they are back in Minnesota with their GC.
On that note, I'd like to say that Sparta is so back as well. They also had a delayed flight on their way back to Orlando, but they are back in Wisconsin now. And so they were able to navigate those challenges successfully. Shout out to Cammie and Skylar, their directors. My choice for We're So Back, I don't know if this qualifies as a niche choir. It probably does for Ethan. My pick is Midlothian, Just for Show, out of Virginia. They won the Manchester Costi Classic this past weekend. They had previously gotten best vocals, best choreo, and second place at a competition earlier this season. However, they took a full vocals choreo win this time around. This is their first overall GC since my freshman year of high school.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yes, it has. And they had a 2-win season in 2017. They won once in Virginia. And Ethan, what other state did Midlothian Just for Show win a competition in 2017?
In 2017, give me Massachusetts.
Georgia.
They
won the Lakeside Vocal Invitational over Culleoka Eclipse and Chattooga Indian Sonata.
I've heard of them.
Tift only sent their girls group. Otherwise, I think Tift would have given them a run for the money. Midlothian that year also won the now defunct Kicquetan Hampton Roads Invitational over Menkville and Atlee. So a lot has changed in show choir. Culleoka, Chattooga, Menkville, Kicquetan's Invitational. None of that exists anymore. Midlothian Just for Show remains, and they are back in the win category once again. Shout out Atticus, Finn, and everyone else involved at Midlothian. We will jump to our Traveler Award. We do have a first runner-up and a grand champion Traveler Award for this week because there are too many choirs taking long trips. Ethan, I'm going to throw some pop trivia at you once again. I'm so sorry to do this in back-to-back segments, but guess how long the drive is for our runner-up Traveler Award this week.
I don't know. Give me 800.
You know, You are not far off. It is 900 miles and 13 hours to go from Shelley, Idaho to Newhall, California. We talked about the Shelley Sentinels last year. They were the first show choir from Idaho to compete since like the Declo Trendsetters in the early 2000s. They're back. They're going to Hart again. They will perform in Novice Mixed on Friday night. Absolutely blasted Novice division at Hart this weekend. It includes probably the top 3 groups in Novice, probably the top 4 groups in Novice this year, those in no particular order because I don't know that much ball, being Esperanza, Los Altos, Granada Hills, and Eisenhower. Western Sierra has been known to pop off as well. Norco, always a presence as well. They picked a really large novice division to go in, which is good because you're going to get a lot of feedback against other shows that are kind of the standard bearers of that division. And if they stick around for Saturday, they will see a Diamond Bar Marquee Glendora Royal Stewards matchup in advanced mix. I believe Diamond Bar has beaten Glendora once so far this year. I believe they both tangoed at Esperanza. They did. Diamond Bar was first, Glendora was third. So DB probably the favorite heading into that one. But our Grand Champion Traveler Award is traveling 19 hours this week, 1,250 miles from the state of Missouri to the state of Massachusetts. Troy Buchanan going to Andover. Troy, no stranger to traveling.
No.
Andover is their travel trip this year. They did very well in the Midwest portion of their season. Ethan, I believe you caught their show once or twice, right? Or 3 times?
And it's a good flight from St. Louis on to into Boston. So
the trailer is going to be driving all that way.
Yeah, that trailer is all that fun. Shout out Mantino. They went to Waltham last year?
Yes.
So yeah, you're seeing more and more of like Midwestern, my Midwesterner. I mean, like at least Illinois / Missouri. Troy is basically Illinois, so don't worry about it. But it's traveling on over there. Oh yeah, and I remember that was a fantastic trip. I was so happy that that was a trip I got to take on. Troy's gonna have a blast. It is such a fantastic event. I don't know if Andover still does that theme song that they do before each show. I don't know. It's been a while. I haven't been there since 2019. But still an amazing competition, and the people are always so friendly. They're gonna have a great time over there, and I hope the judges love them. I hope they enjoy their gold medal. I hope they enjoy it. Frame it. Enjoy the gold medal.
Yeah, we've got an interesting large mixed division. It includes 2 prep groups, which I feel like is a rarity for New England. Like you get 2 mixed prep groups going in the same division. You've got Troy Soundwave and Waltham Music Express. You've also got Lowell and Daniel Hand in this large mixed division, in addition to the varsity groups from Troy and Waltham. So Daniel Hand has gotten the best of Waltham a few times this season. It'll be up to Troy to knock off the incumbent champions. Small mixed, no Everett Pop Fox. However, we do have Leominster, Dracut, Shepherd Hill, the Music Academy of Western New York, and Natick. So best of luck to everybody at Andover. Of course, the New England season not done after Andover. They will still have Waltham on deck as well. Ethan, it is time to move into the preview portion of the show. And with that, I think it's time for a little surprise. We're going to kick off with a little Virginia action. And Ethan and I, we're both good old Midwestern boys, so we try to learn as much as we can about Virginia Show Choir. However, we're going to bring you someone that knows a lot more about Virginia Show Choir than we do. Please welcome to the show, Cole McConnell. Cole, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Thank you, guys.
Well, Cole, you are Homeroom's Virginia contributor for this season. You've been following the action in the scene all season long. The Powhatan Diamond Classic is the last of Virginia's 6 competition schedule. And just off the top of the card, we have a 5-way large mix division, which I feel like is on the larger end of large mix battles for Virginia, no pun intended there. We have Kickingham, Matoaka, Manchester, Midlothian, and Cosby. So we've got 3 M groups, Cosby and Kickingham. What's the read on large mixed for this weekend?
Yeah, like you said, this is pretty rare for Virginia to have 5 groups competing. Normally, we get maybe 3 or 4 tops, but exciting to see all 5 of these groups come into this competition to compete this weekend. Obviously, Cosby's probably like the favorites. 2 grand champs already this year. As this vocals are incredible. I obviously struggled at the first comp at Chesterton earlier this year, but I mean, so far this year been incredible. 2 grand champs, looking to just continue that, so they're probably the favorite. After that, like as I mentioned earlier, Midlothian just for show. Picking up that grand champ last weekend. I think coming off the back of that with momentum going, obviously I lost to Matoka earlier in the year, but beat them for vocals in Korea. I'll say them second. And then I would say with those other 3 choirs, Manchester and Matoka battling back and forth all year. I say Matoka has the slight edge there for Manchester, and then Manchester rounds out 4th and Kikatane in 5th.
Yeah, I got a quick question for you. That tier 2 is kind of eerie to me. I mean, I'm seeing like those 3 choirs have all had some success this year. How do you see that shaking out?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. They're looking at these 3 choirs right here. You have, Atlee, Illusion, Thomas Dale, and Musselman, right? So Musselman coming from West Virginia. Thomas Dale had a great year last year, a little down year for them. No grand champ or anything this year. And then Atlee, obviously, was in tier 1 last year, so dropped down. I would say Thomas Dale's probably the favorite here. They've had a build some success off of last week, and then kind of looking to continue to build off of that. But I'll say they're the favorite in tier 2.
Cole, let's go right down the lineup on Saturday. Let's head all the way down to small mix. We have a very interesting lineup. We have James River Current Edition, which is a relatively new mixed group. Henrico Company 302, which is a young program in general. Amherst County Amarachos, which is a division stalwart. Pequosan Evolution, another small division group that's been around for a while. And then Pinwood Primetime from Pennsylvania, which this is their first show choir competition ever. What is the regional feel for this small mix division heading into this event?
Right. So last weekend, Pequosan got their, I believe, first win of the season in a competitive tier over 8 other groups. So it's 9 groups. So they're probably, feeling the momentum going in, right? They're hyped to get a win last week. So I'll say they're the favorite coming in. They have a very cool campfire theme show this year. They sit around the campfire and sing their ballads. So kind of cool, unique, kind of different feel for that. A very new group. Only, I believe, their second year back competing. So again, some very quick success there. James River, I would say they're the favorite for second place, excuse me. Obviously had a treble group for a long time now, and they brought back the mixed group. Last year struggled to get some success, but have a really good year this year. I would say Enrico's, my alma mater, in 3rd place. They did not place last week and got 3rd at the first comp, so they've kind of up and down different places in the leaderboard this year, but they're probably the favorite for 3rd. But, obviously Henrico and Pinwood, we don't know what they're going to look like. Both the first time seeing these groups this year, so you never know. I do know Henrico does not have a band, so that probably hurts you in the score category a little bit. And then Pinwood, they also have the Scranton director and choreographer from Scranton first edition. So some experience there too. They have 15 students. So some experience coming in terms of the leadership there. So obviously any of those groups could take a swing at it too. So
wonderful. We're going to ask you about one more division, and that is the middle women's division on Friday. Douglas S. Freeman, someone that those of you who've been following Homeroom for a while know that when we did women's rankings, they were way up there. And they have run the table in middle women's this year. Mm-hmm. However, their season concluded last week. So we have Thomas Dale, James River, Kikatane, and Atlee in this middle women's division. How do you see this playing out?
This might be my favorite group to watch this weekend, kind of see how things shake out. These groups have kind of all been battling back and forth, especially Thomas Dale and James River. I've kind of battled for position all year, and Atlee too. Thomas Dale has beaten these groups, and Atlee's won some, and James River's won some. So it's kind of been all over the place. I think Atlee's probably the favorite going in. Them are Nightingales. I would say Nightingales was in tier 1 last week, so we don't know how they'll shake out. It's kind of hard to see when a group's in tier 1 week and then tier 2 next week. It's kind of hard to see how they'll shake out. I would say Thomas Dale 1, Nightingales. I think they're my favorite for the weekend. Atlee 2, and then James River 3. But James River and Atlee have had both won the first comp and then won last week. So they've kind of been back and forth all year. So again, a lot of Virginia. It's been really all over the place this year. A lot of inconsistency and groups struggling to find consistency in their places. So I think anybody could take it, but any of those 3 I would say would take that group for sure.
In the small division on Friday, we've got 2 men's groups. We've got Atlee Debonair and Midlothian Midbrothian. One of those 2 is guaranteed to be the funnest show of the night because that's just the rules. One of the men's choirs has to be the most fun show of the day. Who will be the most fun show on Friday? Will it be Midbrothian or Debonair?
I would have to say I would say Midbrothian. I know it's their first year competing, but got the win last week. Had the best male soloist, best male performer. And when they have the backwards hats, they have the NSYNC. They're the cool kids, pulling up to the town. So I would say they'll probably be the crowd favorite on Friday.
Awesome. Ethan, you got anything else you want to ask Cole?
No, that was perfect. Cole, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for giving us some insight.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, have a great time rounding out your season on Saturday. All right, that was Cole McConnell, Homeroom's Virginia contributor for this season. He's been a great addition to our staff.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, some of that Eastern stuff, a little bit of a blind spot for Ethan and I, and we're going to launch right back into it with the West Virginia States preview. And if you thought that one guest was not enough for tonight's podcast, you are correct. We are bringing on Homeroom's West Virginia contributor, Tanya Chase, to the show. How are you this evening?
Great.
Wonderful.
It's still snowing here, but it's really great here.
I think Ethan and I avoided much of the snow this weekend. I know my folks.
Thank goodness.
Folks up in Wisconsin got a good 18 inches. So, I'm sure that's kind of light work for West Virginia, but for Wisconsin, it's a fair bit. So for West Virginia States, we have what I think compared to recent years is a fairly meaty championship division. We've got 5 groups here. The many time defending state champion Hurricane Red Hot is going against Winfield, Robert Seabird, Polka, and Huntington. Red Hot aside, because we know that they are coming into this competition with a bit of an up and down season, a bit of a national competition schedule. A lot of eyes have been on them. Some of the groups that have more or less stayed within West Virginia or the confines, Winfield, RCB, Polka, Huntington, how are they coming into this state contest?
Well, every single school in West Virginia has been affected by the weather. And we've had 2 canceled competitions. We've had a rescheduled competition. Every single school is pulled out of a competition. So therefore, some of these schools have never seen each other or competed against each other, despite it being a small state and limited in competitions. So general admission, they're from Winfield, and Polka Visual Volume. They're both Putnam County schools. They 15 minutes apart. Their styles are very, very similar. They have a very, very upbeat shows. Winfield is doing their cartoon Saturday show. Polka is doing a beach show. Both of them are choreographed by Brooke Smolder. So they have very similar styles. General admission is a little bit larger. They have a more balanced choir, men to women. I see them pulling ahead of Polka. They've also competed against Polka and Huntington before, and they've bested both of them in competition. So I definitely expect them to be the least likely would be third. However, they've not competed against RCB yet. And RCB is a much larger choir than general admission by about 10 people. Therefore, it is possible that RCB could come in as first runner-up.
All right. Well, moving down to, I don't know what they call it, tier 2. Is it a festival or?
It is festival division. It is geared towards small and novice choirs. And these groups have not competed against each other either. So I have seen Grafton. They have excellent soloists in their choir. Their bass soloist won at Grove City. So they have a lot of potential there to do very, very, very well. Kaleidoscope, they have a very interesting show. All the costumes look different. And it hides the fact that they're smaller in size. Flight is a very small choir. They have had trouble gaining traction there in Spring Mills, and they're competing against other programs there. However, Hannah Sims is their director there. She started that choir. She insists on bringing them to states, even though they're less than 10 kids, because she wants them to get exposed to the larger choirs and build momentum for her program.
Yeah. A quick thing to know. Musselman, this is technically a prelims performance for them now. Doubling up.
It is. States is a one and done competition. So they have the freedom to compete and then go. In fact, they're not the only ones doing it that day. Huntington is competing at Herbert Hoover High School in the morning, going to compete again at 4 p.m. at the State Show Choir Festival, then going back down to Hoover if they qualify for finals.
Wow, that's a long day.
Ethan and I are both grabbing our heads like that's got to be a logistical nightmare for the bus driver, the director, the room hosts, the equipment room managers.
Luckily, they have a very compact set. it does travel very well, and their crew team is amazing. It's high school ran. They will be fine. The biggest hurdle they will have is if States is running behind.
Okay.
And they make finals getting back to Herbert Hoover before their final performance time.
Yeah, and hopefully at Herbert Hoover, they push them back a little bit, if so.
The way Hoover works, it's a different type of final setup, and this will be in the Hoover preview separate from this one, but they take 2 of each division. And because they are large division, it will automatically put them at the end of the evening if they make finals.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, that's super interesting because I was looking at this Hoover lineup real quick, and we've got Huntington, Martinsburg, Good Times, and Taze Valley Prominent Rendition from Ohio. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, I legitimately have no idea. Like, I think Huntington pulled off a bit of a shocker to beat Martinsburg at perhaps like RCB, maybe, if I'm remembering correctly, to make finals. And then you throw Taze Valley in there, which I don't know if, like, obviously it's not their most successful season ever because they are a very, very storied choir in Ohio. But they have put together 1, 2, 3 finals appearances this year in 6 competitions, and they qualified for finals but had to leave early at another one. So they should have 4 finals appearances on their docket. And I'm like, I don't know. I think all 3 of them might be super close heading into finals, but if you can only take 2, I mean, that's going to make that prelim performance matter all that much more.
That and Taze Valley has beaten both schools in competition already this season.
Wow. Well, we might be looking at the first Taze Valley Grand Championship since, let me pull the numbers real quick here. This is why I have them, because they have won a lot in the past.
Yeah.
But they had a 5-win season in 2001 and another 5-win season in 2005, but they have not notched an overall GC since 2018. So
the fiercest competition they have there is not from large mixed. It is from the treble division, where Cabell Midland might be favored for this competition. They have already beat all of these teams in previous competitions.
And that would be another huge win for Cabell because they haven't taken an overall GC since 2020. So
that they would be the second all treble group to win in West Virginia for a GC, overall GC.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're just talking general West Virginia at this point, but last weekend of the season, double comp weekend, so much to go around. Ethan and I are certainly learning stuff on the fly. Tanya, anything else you want to say about States or Hoover?
I think the biggest competition actually at States is going to be treble.
I agree.
Because Emerald Elegance, 2 weeks ago, I would have said Emerald Elegance was going to walk away with this. They have not lost yet this season, and they have the most senior and experienced students in this competition. However, Heatwave amazed me when we went to Cosby, and they beat Pedal Innovations there, which is their biggest competition they faced this year. And since Beaver Creek, they have not lost their division, and they have won choreography in every single one of those competitions. So it is going to be a battle between the vocally strong, artistic Winfield Emerald Elegance and the energetic, choreographically sound Heatwave. So it'll be probably a preference decision.
All right. Well, I know that was certainly a contentious battle at States last year. Now that you bring that up, I certainly just kind of forgot about that in the rush of things, but certainly a lot of things going on in West Virginia. I can think of really only a few programs that we're not seeing necessarily at either competition, maybe Sissonville, Ravenswood. I think like even Buffalo might be on the Hoover lineup. So even a lot of those programs, maybe like Spring Mills at State that don't really compete a lot are getting out this weekend. So certainly a banner weekend for West Virginia. Tanya, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, if you've stuck around until this point of the show, you would think, oh, they're at an hour. They're done.
Cut them off.
We still got to talk about show choir nationals. We're at an hour. We haven't even started talking about nationals yet. We're clearing our throats for the second half of this show.
Have to. Oh my gosh.
And let's just start with Thursday night's women's division. We've got Fisher Sound, Carroll Select Sound, Homewood Nexus, the Center Grove Debtones, Loveland Allure, the North Central Descants, and Brownsburg's Starlight Voices. It's an Indiana party, and Loveland and Homewood are just living in it. How do you see this division playing out?
I don't know, William.
Well, okay, I'm sorry for asking.
Yeah, you should. No, I'm kidding. This is. Every single choir in this division is amazing. Price of admission would probably be worth just this.
Well, they charge you each day. It's $30.
Oh, I know. I know. Trust me, I know. I know. But
you've been everywhere. I forget that you've been everywhere.
Yeah, but as they should, though, right? I mean, like I said, this is a competition that is worth the price of admission. You just have so many choirs who have had success this year. It bounces here and there, and the amount of competition that these choirs go up against, I feel like is going to play a huge dividend at the end of the day, because you step into a lineup like this and it's like, all right, who came to play, and who's been in this position before. And so whoever's been in this position before, I feel like is going to prevail. The first group that jumps out to me is the Debtones. This is a choir that is I believe my personal one. I think they're my personal one. However, they literally just tied with Fisher Sound not too long ago. So it's like
literally tied at Pendleton Heights.
Literally tied. So I don't know. I'm not call a hotline, but I would stay away from this betting wise.
It took us an hour, but we got there this episode.
Yeah, call the hotline. But yeah, I would never bet on this because nothing is for sure. So I'm just gonna run with a quick prediction. And it is what it is, and I don't even know if all my facts are straight in my head because they're kind of bouncing all over the place. I'm gonna go Debtones 1. I'm gonna go Fisher Sound 2. I'm gonna go Homewood Nexus 3. I'm gonna go. Oh, quick research on Descants. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go. Oh, I want to go. I don't know. I'm gonna go Brownsburg 4, Loveland 5. I haven't even said Carroll yet. I'm Carroll 6 because I have to at this point. I'm not backing up in North Central 7th. I'm not backing up. So that's just kind of how it is for me, just off rip. It's kind of like my March Madness brackets this year. Just filling in how it goes. Oh, you want captions? Oh, you want captions? Give me a sweep. Give me a sweep. Unless Loveland, I feel like Loveland. I don't know. I feel like Loveland Allure could make a jump. Alert. I feel like they could make a jump and maybe choreography. However, I'm just gonna stick with my guns and go sweep. So.
All right. Well, I'll give Center Grove the edge here. I'll give Fisher second. Give me that same caption split that they had at Pendleton Heights, which is, let me pull it up real quick. Give me Center Grove in first with vocals and Fisher second in choreo. I think that it will be essentially the same thing, except they won't tie because I feel like Nationals will have enough tiebreakers in place where you just can't tie because it's Nationals and like
I would hope not.
Intrinsically you can't.
Can you imagine that would be one of the days in show.
I would go back to my hotel and just sit and think about the Cosmos after that. Like The mysteries of the universe tie at show choir nationals.
Maybe the competition was the friends we made along the way.
Yes, at that point, I would have to just throw my hands up and say, you know what? Like, let's just not even do it for scores tomorrow. Let's just go out there. Everyone from I think Southwood or Donaldson's the first choir of the day, all the way through to Brownsburg at the end of the day. In third place, I will take Brownsburg. In fourth place, Loveland. In fifth place, Homewood. And in sixth place, North Central. The mixed division: Donaldson Christian Academy Legacy, Southlake Carroll the SLC, Findlay First Edition, Fisher's Electrum, Grenada Visions, Carroll Magic, Homewood the Network, Glenwood Titan Fever, Center Grove Sound System, Loveland by Request, North Central Counterpoints, Brownsburg Spotlight Singers, and Company. Before we talk, a couple stats about this group. These 12 choirs this year have combined for 18 grand championships, 15 best vocals, 22 best choreographies, and 9 best bands. The longest drive is Southlake Carroll at 700 miles, and the shortest drive is Donaldson Christian at 7 miles. So let's just start with, I think, groups that we don't expect to be realistically in finals contention. I think you and I can probably agree on 3.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw them out there.
I'll go 1 and then you go 1.
Sure. All right. You take yours first.
This is Donaldson Christian, home turf. This is their home court advantage, home crowd. So they have that going for them. However, I just think they're just too much on the smaller side to really make a run at it. They have been a choir has had fun shows. Are they the choir that had the Chick-fil-A show?
Yes. You should ask your brother about the Chick-fil-A show.
Yeah, no, I should ask him about it.
I talked to him about it. How have I talked to him about this? I haven't talked to him about it.
Which I know Sam did them for a while. Does he still do them? I think so.
Yeah, he does.
I think so. So they're gonna come out and they're gonna have a bunch of fun, and then they're gonna have a short drive back home, and so they're gonna leave it all out on the stage. I mean, they have literally nothing to lose. So, can they make a jump to make finals? I think they're on the outside. So, it's gonna be a tough battle. However, I know they're gonna put on a good show.
Absolutely, Donaldson. I believe this is their first or second year as a large mixed group. This is, I believe, their second year as a large mixed group. So they're still growing. As late as 2 years ago, it was a no placement at Albertville, a no placement at Jasper, and then third place in small mixed at Warren Central. Last year, they took a big step forward. They were overall GC at Rome. They were third place at Albertville. This year, second place at Albertville, overall GC at Rome again. Or no, hold on. Actually, second place overall GC went to Tift, but they were first in large mix. And then they were third in finals at Hamilton in Ohio. So big steps forward as a group. Appreciate that they're coming out here. I don't think I've ever seen a high school show choir from Tennessee live. I've seen Lake Forest Middle School, but I don't think I've ever seen any of the Tennessee high schools live. So this is going to be a new experience. Another state that I have not seen anybody live from, I don't think, is Texas. And that is where Southlake Carroll is coming from, their first year of direction under Casey Levi. Did not make finals at either Fort Worth Southwest or Keller Central in their 2 previous competition appearances. They're under the new choreography team. Or no, hold on. No, that's the same choreography team, just in a different order. They've got Steph Hyatt and Ben Eklund doing their visual stuff. So Southlake, there's just they're still a very young program. They're a post-pandemic genesis into the show choir world. Again, I'm very happy that they'll be at nationals, but I do not think that they are at the level of these other groups.
Is it my turn? I have to pick a choir now?
Yeah, you got to get one more. I've only got one left on my.
Okay.
I don't think there's a great path for them in the finals. If you want me to say it, I can't.
No, I have to say it. I think it's Glenwood. It's just too big of a gap. And this is a choir that is, I think, going in the right direction right now. And if they can somehow make a run at a finals, that is the biggest cherry on top of a season that they could have. It's a choir that's going in the right direction. I just think that gap is too big. And it's such a fun show. And if you're going to nationals, you need to see it because it's just so much fun on stage. They move so well. They have no theme, even though they throw like I feel like every song's a theme almost. I don't know.
But their theme is come out and play.
Yeah. Come out and play. And then like backyard party at the end of it. Shout out backyard party. But yeah, it's just backyard party. Someone knows that song. But yeah, I just think it's too much of a hill to climb. However, David Fair and Clinton did go to Glenwood, so maybe he'll bump him up a lot of points. No, that's not how that works. It's just gonna. I just think that hill to climb is gonna be kind of big, and I don't know if they have the mustard to get that spot.
Man, well, yes, Backyard Party is a song that I think both Ethan and I are fairly well acquainted with. I believe saw Nina do it in 2022. Before this, Ethan, you might have seen someone perform it From Your Own Two Eyes in 2021. You might have seen many people perform it From Your Own Eyes. Well, hold on. Were you in the front row for that song? Because if so, then you weren't seeing other people perform it.
Yeah, I was definitely front row.
Okay, so you were not seeing other people perform that song.
I remember some of it.
There we go. So, and we've also got a selection from In Pieces, Joey Contreras' musical that is quickly becoming a bit of a hot topic for show choirs these days. Glenwood, again, leaps and bounds better than last year. I saw their show in exhibition. And yes, I did watch the host exhibition. For those of you who are wondering, longtime listeners of the podcast know this is one of our favorite multi-season bits is Will watch the host exhibition at the competition he was at. The answer for this upcoming weekend will be yes. I can already tell you that ahead of time. They have Hot in Here by Nelly. So interesting. Red Solo Cup and Cheeseburger in Paradise. That is one of the medleys of all time.
Yeah, and honestly, seeing Glenwood act on stage took me a second. I was like, "Whoa, we're doing a novelty number."
Glenwood with a novelty number.
I mean, it's fun, and the grill's doing the dry ice and the smoke. Oh, that's great. They do a great job with it.
So that's generally our 10, 11, 12. I think, Ethan, I also have 3 groups that I consider to be pretty safe locks for finals. Do you want to go over those, or do you just want to head into the thick of the make finals battle?
Let's do the locks.
All right. Well, I'll take.
Can I do one? Can I do one?
You get the middle one. I'll take the first one.
I agree. I do the middle one.
You take the middle one.
I'll take the middle one.
All right. My first lock is Center Grove. They have not lost in a long, long time. I don't see that changing here. Little prediction spoiler. I don't see them losing here. And I definitely don't see them not making finals.
That's bold, Cotton. That's bold. I hope it plays out for them. Bold
strategy going to nationals, going up against good competition.
Bold. It's bold. I feel like the one I should say is Homewood. Homewood is one of those choirs where I don't think that they will miss finals.
They're on my list as well.
Yeah, they've had a very good year this year. They had a fantastic year last year. I feel like the only way, to keep it going is maybe a podium placement for them at this competition. So, they are one of the choirs that you need to watch out for at nationals.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of seeing their show earlier in the season, and while it's certainly not bulletproof by any stretch of the imagination, I certainly think it will be into the finals round. My third lock for finals is the North Central Counterpoints.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was going to be North Central. I had a feeling. I don't know. You can explain. Sorry.
No, you're good. I just didn't expect to see that visceral of a reaction for a finals lock. It's not like I said, here's my sixth place choir.
No, it's just like I'm starting to read you better every show. I'm I'm learning more. I'm gathering more information. I'm learning.
After 49 episodes, we're finally tag teaming a little bit.
Finally.
Yeah, North Central, they have really been on the upswing this year. They only took one grand championship last year. They took it on the chin at state. This year they came out, February 7th, perhaps the earliest in program history they've ever competed. And they take the win at Southmont to start their season, and they've nabbed 2 more wins along the way. They cleaned up at Lawrence Central last week, as North Central is apt to do seemingly every year these days. They also cleaned up at Lafayette Jefferson. 3 wins is absolutely a high watermark for them. They are a former Show Choir Nationals championship winning group. And while none of those kids are there, and there's something about groups where the mojo gets passed down. You can say the same for Homewood when they were this close to beating Linn-Mar at Nationals in 2023.
Yeah.
The mojo gets passed down through the adults in the room, through the alumni, through the siblings of the folks who were there, through the parents who were there back then and are still here now. They've got the mojo to make it to finals.
I agree.
And that leaves us with 6 groups for positions 4 through 9.
I don't like this.
It is legitimately one of these like Chesterton-esque things where at Chesterton you probably had 7 groups for 5 final spots, and here you've got 9 groups for 6 final spots. It's one of those where like it's not even a coin flip to be like, okay, 1 through 5 are locked in and there are 2 groups going for 6th. It's okay, we have 3 locks and then we have like 6 for 3, and like maybe a bit of like in Indiana, this beats this, but then you factor in a couple of like total and complete wild cards, multiple of them.
Yeah.
And you're just left like, well, like it really truly is probably going to be down to who locks in the most. However, for posterity's sake, it's worth covering each and every one of them. Ethan, do you just want to go in alphabetical order among these 6 choirs?
Oh, sure. Why not?
All right.
And one thing, well, we're not doing predictions yet, but
No.
yeah, I'll leave that for later. So yeah, you could go.
Brownsburg Spotlight Singers and Company. Last time they were at Show Choir Nationals, things happened. They should have been in the finals round. They were not. They now have the privilege of performing, or I would call it a privilege, some may not, of performing at the very end of the day on Friday. Or not the end of the day, but the end of the prelims round, 1:45 p.m. They have had an eventful season. Things have happened to them this season as well. A bit of a kerfuffle at Kenton. 3rd place at Franklin Central, where they lost to Fishers, which is a choir that we'll be talking about in just a bit. However, they cleaned up at Avon 2 weeks ago over Lawrence North, Clover Hill, and Northridge.
They are one of the choirs for me who was on that line. They're sitting right there on that line, and now by sitting there right on that line, I mean points wise, not position wise, because it could literally be 6 choirs deep how close that line really is. So the matter of foot noise or what, you never really know. So they are going to be right there. A very experienced choir, not afraid to back down from competition. Being from the Indianapolis scene, they have seen it all. They know the choirs are going up against here. So I feel like that is to their advantage. And of course, the last spot, which I feel like is definitely deserved after that kerfuffle. So, I hope the best for them. I just don't know where to place them until I make my predictions. And then it's just like, well, in the end, you guys sometimes stop thinking with this and start thinking with this, or is it the other way? I don't know. They are a choir that I root for. So I can't wait to see how they place here.
Our second choir is Carol Magic. Again, a choir that things have happened to this season. Missed finals at Chesterton. Come storming back in their next regional event at Mount Zion. 2nd place, beating a couple of really good groups. Last weekend at Norwell, a drop to the vocals caption to Chesterton, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. So Carol, a bit of an up and down season as well.
Yeah, and thank goodness I saw him this year, so I can actually like give some input, like actual input. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the Opryland that this is a show where people are gonna be like, we didn't just watch a show choir, we just watched like a whole production. And I know California is the same way, and I know a lot of people say that Carol is the California of the Midwest in terms of show design and stuff like that. And watching them at Mount Zion in that auditorium, it was an experience that was truly, truly special. Maybe like looking at the safety rigs and everything kind of takes away from it because like we're really doing safety rigs and all that. Well, I mean, you have to with what they're doing. With what they're doing, you have to do it. And their setup times, like so. In the end, they do a good job. So I feel like it's gonna play super, super well at Opry. And on my initial hand, I think that gives them the upper hand. I don't know. It's just one of those things where if they can come out and sing. Now I know they dropped that caption last weekend. The best vocal caption, which is kind of wishy-washy when you're heading into your next competition's nationals. However, I just feel like that's a show that you're going to watch on stage and you're like, that's almost like a Broadway type show that I'm watching. And I don't know, like this the atmosphere. It feels like you've paid a ticket and you're sitting in New York and you're watching a great production. If they could come out and sing and they could come out and be clean, I think they can get a spot here.
Yeah, I'll save some of my thoughts for when we do our predictions a little bit later on. Our next group in this category is Findlay First Edition. Findlay winless last year for the first time in a long time. However, this year they have come storming back. They opened the season with 2 wins at Medina and DeKalb. Their last competition out in Ohio, they were third to Marysville and Grove City at Solon. They are the first of the groups that we think will be really in finals contention. They performed third on Friday at the bright and early time of 9 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, talk about experienced choirs. This is probably one of the most experienced choirs, maybe at nationals. They just, it seems like they go there every single year, or if not, they're always making noise at this competition. So I can't wait to see how they do here. It's going to be a tough battle for them. I'm in my March Madness brain right now. They just don't have enough quad 1 wins. like yes, they have they
quad 1 on the Show Choir podcast is nuts.
Like quad 1 win over Solon. That's a quad 1 win. Is Euclid a quad 1 win? I think they're on the line. But besides that, and I'm trying to think of the other groups. I think Northrop. I don't think that's a quad 1 win. So. And then last weekend getting third against some really good choirs. So, I mean, they've gone up against good competition, and especially in Ohio where nothing's promised at all. It's always changing. I just don't know. I feel like a lot of people are looking at them and be like, yes, they have beaten a really good choir like Solon and beaten solid choirs. I just don't know how it's going to translate. However, I am hoping they make finals. They're a choir that I root for, being as traditional as they are in what they are in the whole show choir landscape. Definitely want to see a trademark choir like them in nationals finals.
Our next group in this category, so this is 4 of 6 now, is Fisher's Electrum. Fisher's one of those large mixed choirs in the Indiana scene, kind of under that Power 5. They've been second 3 times this year. They've been third once this year. They have 4th on their resume as well from Center Grove. However, this is a group that comes in with a little bit of momentum. They were first runner-up at Marysville to Burbank this past weekend. They beat Lafayette Jefferson, who had previously beaten them at Homestead in February. Thoughts on Fisher's Electrum?
We're talking about a group that battles. They are one of the grittiest choirs, I think, in the country. You look at who they go up against. It's never easy. It's never easy for Fishers. I feel like they are always battling and always getting good placements against, some of the best in the country. And they never back down from it. Because at the end of the day, you want your kids going up against the best, and you can't be the best until, you go up against the best and you beat them. So, and guess what? They're going to nationals where some of the best are. And I think that they can seriously make a run for a final spot here. They are such a strong choir. And I know that the Tigers, that's their mascot. I think it's the Tigers. The Tigers will not back down, right? I feel like they're going to make a strong push here, especially with a lot of Indianapolis representing. So, they have some backing in that.
Absolutely. Moving on to our fifth choir in this group, we have Loveland by Request. Loveland, a group that both of us saw last year. Again, like Finley, a winless group for the first time in forever last year. This year, also like Finley, 2 grand championships to their name. They also have a pair of third-place finishes and a fourth at Ross. However, their most competition at Fairfield, a signature win, taking home best choreography, best band, and the win over Zionsville, Millard West, Brandon, and Plainfield.
Yeah, and I could have done this with Fishers, but really quick, I'm just going to run down the list of choirs who have bested Loveland this year. Solon from Ohio, Noblesville from Indianapolis, at Olentangy, Center Grove, Marysville. Okay, they won at South Dearborn, at Ross. They got 4th place, but lost to Marysville, Solon, and Fairfield. So I mean, those are all the choirs who have beaten them this year. You put those choirs on a list, and I'm like, dang, that's I mean, if you're gonna lose to some choirs, those are not bad choirs to lose to, and especially after a year that they had last year. No one really saw this coming besides the people in that room. They knew what kind of season that they were going to have, and they have been doing a heck of a good job of the run that they've had this year. And I can't wait to see how they do on the Grand Ole Opry stage. I think that Paxton Mertz is going to bring it and company. I just know that, shout out. He is going. I know that solo is going to be amazing. And I just know that they're going to bring it because Loveland also has a special type of energy on stage, and I feel like it's really controlled and really honed in, and I can't wait for them at the end to just explode. So it's going to be really interesting to see where Loveland ends up.
I messed up a little bit on the alphabetical order things. I accidentally
you're fine.
put Loveland in 5th when the choir that I should have had in 5th was Grenada Visions. Grenada, one of the only, I believe, no, they were last at Nationals in 2024. So they were in that crop with Center Grove and all that. But one of the most recent re-competitors at Nationals, their repertoire this year misunderstood about Marilyn Monroe. Their competition performances, 2nd places at Jassy and Tupelo, 3rd places at Auburn and Biloxi.
This is the one that's iffy to me, and I haven't seen them this year. You have. You've seen them, correct? So it's you have a better read on it than I do. And I feel like early in the year, just from what I've heard from you and other people, it's a great show. And they perform it very, very well. It's almost like it matters on the day how they do. Now, granted, that's with every single choir, though. That's not just a Grenada thing. However, I think it kind of has plagued Grenada this season, especially early. I feel like they've really have kind of honed it in as of late. I know they have had 3rd place finishes. However, they're only getting better. Tupelo Synergy is an amazing choir. I mean, their sound on stage is just impeccable when you have 80 some people, or I don't even know their number, but that's what it looks like. So it's not the year that they've wanted. However, it's still a great show, and they're not unfamiliar to the national stage. So it's going to be very, very close between all these groups. It's going to be so tight.
Absolutely. Man, that is a preview of all 12 mixed groups. We have 3 groups that we think don't really be a part of the finals conversation. We have 3 groups that we think will be a lock. We have 6 groups that we think will be somewhere in between. Ethan, do you want to go from 6th on up for our predictions?
Sure, why not? And or is it more dramatic if we go 1 through 6?
You know what? It might be.
Would it? I feel like, I don't know. I feel like making finals is almost a bigger deal than winning. Now, winning is a big deal. But I know for a lot
this
of
man just said that something was a bigger deal than winning show choir nationals. Look at this guy.
Hey. Sometimes half the battle is making it. So
and
once you hear your name just to be a part of something special, it is truly something. Now, before we begin, I just wish that we could still see the community list because I used to always cheat off that at the end of the day.
I don't think that would be any good for this.
No, yeah, and only if I saw the creator of showchoir.com so I can give that thought in. No, I'm kidding.
If only you had seen him over the weekend.
Yeah, only if I saw him over the weekend. I don't know.
But
I like it the way it is, though. I like it the way it is. Keep it the way it is. Okay. I'll let you start. I'll let you start the 6.
Are we going top down?
Oh, shoot. Let's go top down.
All right. In first place with vocals and choreo, Center Grove.
I second that. I think after seeing some amazing choirs the past 4 weeks this year, I don't think anyone touches them. After watching JB and Clinton, I think CG would still get the edge. They're just vocally just unmatched, and their choreo is sharp and clean, and the show's not too complicated. I mean, it's Phantom of the Opera. I hope everyone kind of understands what that might be, and they just do a great job performing it. And yeah, so I honestly think that they would be the host here. So it just kind of is what it is. I feel like it's theirs to lose. If they decided to lose a step, they could and not make it. But I think it's theirs.
We are an hour and a half into the show and saying wild, wild things, and I'm about to say another wild, wild thing. In second place with best band, North Central Counterpoints.
Whoa, Anthony Bennett. No. No.
Can you tell it's basketball season?
It's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that. It's not ridiculous. No, it's tough, man. And no, that's definitely a choir that can contend for the two in any situation.
Hear me out. They beat Oak Mountain.
Yeah.
Homewood is also a choir that's beat Oak Mountain. I just have to pick a choir that's beaten Oak Mountain. I just, and I choose North Central.
And honestly,
that's the one transitive property we have here is that both of these groups have beat Oak Mountain.
And you know what? I think you honestly convinced me. I'm going North Central as well. After hearing that, I know Homewood has amazing sound. Their sound, of course, is just some of the best in the South. However, I'm just gonna lean up with the Indianapolis sound more, and I feel like it's really gonna translate in the Opry. So, I'm gonna go with North Central at my 2 as well.
In third place, Homewood the Network.
I think our top 3 is the same. So yeah, I think that's how it's just gonna lay, and it's gonna be tight, man. Those last 2 I know are gonna be 2 through. Even 1. I think 1 through 6, 1 through, and maybe not 1 through, but it would be like 3 through like 8 is gonna be unbelievable. It's gonna be so tight.
In fourth place, Finley First Edition.
See, that's where I kind of was thinking about Finley. If Finley
you were kind of thinking about him,
yeah, like if Finley was going to come to play, I think that's the max that I would give them. I think that's the max I would give them.
You look at the numbers. Show Choir Nationals 2024, Finley First Edition, 4th place. Show Choir Nationals 2022, Finley First Edition, 4th place. My thinking, Show Choir Nationals 2026, Finley First Edition, 4th place. It's just logic. Show Choir Nationals 2019, Finley First Edition, 4th place. There's something about Finley and being 4th at Show Choir Nationals.
Yeah, clearly.
Show Choir Nationals 2018, Finley First Edition, 5th place.
The signs. The signs. The signs. You know what I'm talking about. This is that. That connects to this. This connects to this. This means that. That's the sign.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I do an unpopular pick? Am I allowed to?
Yeah. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Carol. It's Carol.
It's
Carol. It is Carol.
Oh.
They're my 4. And I know not a lot of people might be thinking it, but I'm thinking it. I am thinking it. I know they were at Chesterton at a competition that was stacked just like this, and they missed out on finals. But however, then on Mount Zion, they just made such an impression on the judges that even some of them were even considering them like mouths like dropped when they walked off stage. And I feel like that if they clean it up and they go prepared and they bring what they bring, I think they can get that 4th spot. Nothing's promised ever. However, just for the fun of it, I'm going to put them in the 4.
I think the deciding factor with Carol, I think there are a couple things with Carol. Number one, we have several groups here who are stronger visually than vocally, as evidenced by kind of the imbalance between vocals captions and choreography captions that people have taken this year. So I think that if Carol was stronger vocally than visually, it would help them stand out. But the question is, and even like when I saw him at Chesterton, like I'm not going to lie, I wasn't super shocked to see him miss finals because I knew that vocally they just got eaten up. The question is this a panel that rewards the technique of it all? Or is this a panel that rewards the effect? Because I think the effect is mostly there, but I think the way they get there technique-wise might fall flat with some panels. So I think it's going to come down to which do the judges prefer. And that's what makes this thing so hard to predict, is that I'm not in the business of getting inside the minds of any show choir judge. I'm not a show choir judge. I don't ever want to be a show choir scoring judge.
Same.
We're not doing that.
Unless you want to hire me, I guess I'll do it. I don't know.
Do not even hire me. I will skew your results unintentionally so bad it won't even.
I mean, hey, we've seen it.
We have seen it. What's that one showchoir.com comment, like judges that were trained in public health, 19th century Sicilian motet, and something else.
Shout out Wabanzi, Wheaton Warrenville South, the Choral Classic 2018. Shout out.
Oof. I was going for St. Clairsville 2017, but
okay.
we both have our own comments. That's my issue with Carol. Or that's where I stand with Carol, I should say. That's where I stand. I watched someone do that as their ballad. Who did I watch do that as their ballad recently? I watched someone do that as their ballad. Anyways, y'all, I've just watched so many shows this year. It's all blending together. 5th place. My predicted 5th place group is Grenada Visions.
I love how spicy we're getting.
There's no way to not be spicy.
No. I just love. Well, I'm trying to think of what like the community would put. Like, what would the most bland one look like? And
let me
I'm
put
like,
my hand up.
Kind of different, and I kind of love it. I love it.
V4L. Like, I watched this show at Auburn twice, and I have no clue how it's placing where it is. I have no clue how it's not just steamrolling a lot of other groups, because I watched that thing, and sure, was Homewood better? Yes. Was Oak Mountain better? Ooh, boy. I was having real conversations with people about, like, hey, did Grenada lock in enough to beat Oak Mountain? Like, those were very real conversations that's happening. And Oak Mountain is the benchmark that I'm using for my top 3 groups. So Grenada, like, you think the last time they were at Show Choir Nationals, they were 2nd place. And obviously, this is a different show than that. Like, the Ugly Duckling show is one of one. But this show, like, also, like, every Grenada show for the past 10 years has been one of one in some way or another. This year, another one of one show. This is one of those things where on paper, I don't think a lot of people who haven't seen Grenada's show or don't know a ton about Southern Show Choir are going to put this show in finals. Yeah. However, I've seen this show. I've also seen some of the shows it's going up against. I will put this show in finals.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
No. And guess what? I have not seen the show. Which I haven't seen half these shows probably. Which is not great by me, right? So
there are only so many videos you can watch over the course of a season.
Gosh. And then you're driving to comp. Yeah. There's only so much and people are editing articles and pushing them out and making social posts and doing all that stuff too on top of their normal work. So yeah, there's only so many videos you can see in a show choir season. So maybe on the back end. So I don't know. I'm getting pushed and pulled every single way, and I definitely think Grenada is very deserving of a final spot. And even the spot that you gave them, I just don't know where to place them because, like you said, I haven't seen I just haven't seen them, and I know that I've seen. I know they perform well. I mean, shoot, seeing them live last year was amazing. It was otherworldly. It was unbelievable. What's another word? I don't know. But yeah, it was just it was like a one of one show, and when they walked off the stage, we were like, okay, the South brought it this year. And like we said, I don't know how many numbers of shows before. It's a choir that always has kind of an up and down type of years, and last year was an amazing year. People kind of thought this year would bounce down a little bit because that's just kind of the trend. However, they've still stayed up there at that competitive level. So and I don't think that the results show how competitive they are, like you said. However, it's just so hard to tell when you haven't seen them. So I think you brought up a really, really good point. So my fifth spot, after saying all of that, Finley. I'm going Finley. I'm gonna go with Finley. You put them at your 4, and then you dropped all the numbers, and you said they got a 5th before. So that's giving me this door to give them the 5. No, I was gonna put them 5 or 6. I think this is a very, very good year for them, and I feel like their style, it's very traditional. However, no one is traditional anymore. Like no one is a true traditional show choir anymore, like they are. So I can't wait to see them on, of course, the grand old Opry stage. And when I think grand, I think Finley. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw John Hersey this past Saturday, and John Hersey had characters in their show, and I was like, John Hersey has characters. What has traditional show choir come to? Like, the last bastions of Illinois traditional show. Like
Glenwood has novelty numbers. No,
Glenwood has novelty numbers. John Hersey has characters. And like next year, like El Paso is going to have their own mics for soloists. Like,
yeah, nothing matters anymore.
El Paso, please don't do that. That's a joke. My 6th place spot is Loveland by Request.
Mm-hmm.
I can't argue with beating Zionsville. I just can't. Zionsville is a show that many people are very fond of this year. I have not seen that show. I have watched about.
Is that show even on YouTube?
It is very, very hard to find a video of any Zionsville show ever for reasons that we will not go into on this podcast. But Loveland can't argue with beating Zionsville. You get hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're in.
So for me, it's going to come down to Fishers, Grenada, and Loveland. In Brownsburg.
Wait, no. Yeah, in Brownsburg.
In Brownsburg. I am going to go with Loveland. I'm going to go with Loveland. I'm going with Loveland. I feel like that they can make some serious noise. I had that thing about the quad 1 wins earlier, and however, we're going to have some mid-majors in this tournament make some noise, and I think Loveland is going to be the exact same way.
Calling Loveland a mid-major is dirty.
They're not a mid-major, but like people won't understand the reference. Okay, and I apologize. You're not a mid-major. Like you have like
Loveland is not Detroit Mercy. I just want to say that.
No, not at all, not at all. I'm sure what's a good player comp? They are like St. Mary's.
Okay, all right.
Like
I'll take St. Mary's.
All right, and they're not. Right. That's not a mid-major. So I apologize for saying that. But it's like a choir who, they have like 2 or 3 really good wins this year against really good high caliber choirs. But you just never know what's going on over there. And I feel like they still have gone up against the Giants of Ohio. And I still think that they're a strong choir. And I think that they're going to really, really knock that door down, which sadly means I left out a choir who's gone up against, competition all year, like nonstop in Fishers. I think Fishers does have a chance to be knocking on the door, and a group that you put in finals that I didn't, Grenada as well. I just can't trust me putting them in there because I just don't know enough, which hurts them in my prediction. So like you said, And then of course Brownsburg, I just don't know where to put them. And I guess that just makes them not in my finals.
Yeah, I think Brownsburg is my example of kind of quad one wins. Like, did they clean up at Avon like they do every year? Yeah, but that was against Lawrence North and Clover Hill and Northridge, and you got 2 small division programs. So they really the only other like real large division group was Lawrence North, and were they ahead of Solon in prelims at Kenton? Yes. Unfortunately, we just did not have an opportunity to see that play out. And then at FC, they did have a head-to-head loss to Fishers. So I think that is just kind of something where it's like, well, shows definitely turn corners throughout the season. And I'm certainly not saying just because you lost to Fishers before, you have to lose to Fishers again. But again, another one of I've barely watched any Indiana shows this year. I didn't go to any comps in the Metro. And at Chesterton, I saw Carmel, FC, and Carroll. I think we're the only 3 in it. Well, I got in too late to the auditorium for Northrop's girls, and we're conducting an interview during Northrop next. So I didn't see Northrop either. But yeah, that means out of finals for me is Carroll, Fishers, Brownsburg. I just feel like in Indiana, you're either one of the top 5, which is CG, Carmel, FC, North Central, Zionsville, and you're either competing with those choirs or you're like 6 on down. Like, it's just a total bloodbath, and everyone's been mixing and matching with each other this year, and I just don't have enough confidence in any of them to, before the event, say you're in finals. Now, when I watch prelims on Friday morning, will one of the shows of Carroll, Fishers, or Brownsburg yell out to me and be like, you can't leave me out of finals? Sure, I'm not discounting that at all. But just kind of between my lived experiences so far this season and the best of my on paper logicking, is my finals is Center Grove with 2 captions, North Central with a caption, Homewood, and then Finley, Grenada, and Loveland.
Yeah, and then I sat around the same, so I had the same top 3. So I had a sweep of the Center Grove sound system, and then second was North Central, third was Homewood. I had Carroll in my 4th. I think that they can make some noise here, and I think 4 might be their high, but I think they can make some noise here. My 5, who did I say for my 5? I said, oh my goodness, Finley. Golly, Finley. No, yeah, I had Finley in my 5. There's a choir with too much knowledge and too much experience on this stage, and then I had Loveland rounding it out as well, leaving out Grenada, Brownsburg, and a handful of other amazing choirs.
Well then, I will be at Show Choir Nationals. There will be a very healthy contingent of us from homeroom there, so if we don't bite, please feel free to come up to us, say hi before the show, in between shows, because there are multiple groups that will take a lot of time to set up, that I've seen in person that I know will take a lot of time to set up. And that's just how it's going to be. And as much as I gripe about stuff running on time, I think I have just resigned myself to the fact that I don't think we're going to be running on time by the end of Friday's prelims. So there will be plenty of time to talk. Please come up, say hi, grab a chat, grab a photo, grab whatever. I will be also enjoying Nashville a little bit. It is not my spring break. I'm an adult with a job, so spring break is a little bit of a mythical concept these days.
Like, you may work at an institution.
I may work at an institution that has a spring break. However, I don't get the full week off. So, but yeah, we'll be enjoying a little bit of a nice spring break-ish weekend in Nashville. Ethan, you are sitting tight and probably watching a lot of basketball this weekend, right?
That too, and I'll also be doing a doubleheader on Saturday at Neoga, so that'll be something.
Wow!
So I'll just come back to a flood of messages about the day. National, so, and a great day of show choir in general.
Well, if you have made it this far in the show, thank you so much. Whether you're watching this live or whether you are watching this on the recording, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, feel free to like the episode, subscribe, follow the show, etc., etc. If you're wondering our thoughts about nationals, make sure to tune in next week, Tuesday. However, we will also have the Teardown live reaction show on Saturday night, so watch for that on our Instagram account at HomeroomSC. We will have perhaps not ourselves, but perhaps some other folks reacting to Nationals, ISMA State, Powhatan, West Virginia States, Andover, Hart, Herbert Hoover. What else is happening this weekend? Madison Central, Fame America, Hinton, and Noblesville, I think, is the rest of the comps happening this weekend. So with that being said, okay, good. There's a car alarm going off out there. I don't know. Can you hear that?
A tad, but I didn't know if it was just your computer. I thought your computer about to blow up. I was like, Will just explodes.
I was trying
Paul McCartney dies
in the end.
Oh my god!
All right,
someone do a Paul McCartney show and do the blow up part. That'd be awesome. Live and let die, and just fire. All right, let's end this.
This is why we do live. This is why we don't produce any of these moments.
Yeah, this is supposed to be an hour long.
Yeah, we're down at hour 49. And maybe we should have just split the Nationals preview like we've done each of the past. Why did we not do that this year?
I don't know. We weren't thinking.
I think the producer just scheduled one episode and said call it good.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful weekend of show choir. If you're performing, break leg. If you're traveling, safe travels. If you are watching, have fun. We've got some very big end of season stuff coming from the site as well. Huge. So make sure to watch out for that in the upcoming days and weeks, although not months. We'll get it out sooner than months. Watch the upcoming days and weeks. For Ethan, I am William. We will see you next week and have a great week of show choir.